afternoon from Germany. Here's Pascal again. We have no major news today on this Friday, but I wanted to do another live stream because I wasn't able to stream yesterday the economic news and the opening of the market because I had a lot of appointments and things to do. So I wasn't able to trade at all yesterday, but we want to do a small recap today just to be informed what happened yesterday and why it is important what happened yesterday. So let's start. The market is open right now and we will begin here with our Nasdaq chart. The market went down. As you can see, we closed lower yesterday here at 12,457 points and we are at 12,385 points right now, about 100 points lower than we closed yesterday, already 0.77% in the red for Nasdaq. So let's see if the lows from pre-market can hold here. These are the lows pre-market during the European session at 9:30 a.m. This is 3:30 a.m. Eastern time. The low was 12,337 points. This should act as a support here. We had a test here at noon my time, 6 a.m. Eastern. So this one should act as a support. And from yesterday, of course, the closing level can be an interesting level. This one is right here at 12,450, around this level. And it was a high point here during the Asian session. So let's see if this will act as a resistance. So on a higher time frame, let's see 4 hour, we see the harsh rejection here on this Fibonacci level where I closed my longs yesterday. So I had some decent wins here. Unfortunately, I missed to enter the shorts because my limit was right above the 12,800. I was talking about this yesterday. But the high point was 12,792 points. So I missed the entry by 18 points. A little bit unfortunate, but this happens. And you will always get a second chance. And therefore, I will just be patient and wait. Maybe not back to the 12,800 level, but I can enter here at lower levels and it will still be a decent trade area. I will not go in with full position, just entering with a small position, and then as soon as I see that we will see a change of direction and more volume to the downside, then I will go in with a higher position size. So let's see this on a day chart to see that the Fibonacci levels here are still in place as long as we don't trade below the previous low from February 10th, which is 12,243 points. We are about to retest the 20-day EMA. So as you can see, pre-market, the low was pretty near to the 20 EMA level, but of course we can go below, but we have to close above to still have an uptrend here. The parabolic is already showing an early downtrend, but ADX here is still bullish. The trend is a little bit weaker now, but it is still a strong uptrend here. More than on ES for S&P 500. Where's my chart for ES? Here. For ES, we see that the parabolic is also here signaling a downtrend, and the trend here is a lot weaker. It is still signaling an uptrend on ADX, but the strength of the trend is a lot less strong than it is on Nasdaq. And you see we are pulling right now below the 20 EMA, so it's looking worse for S&P 500 than it is for Nasdaq. So let's go to Tesla. There's the question in the live chat from Atif. So let's see Tesla. We are back above 200, so against the market. Tesla is green today, about 0.8%, but it was red, big red yesterday. The closing was at $196.74. So we are still trying to hold this 200 area. This is still an important area for the week. So if we look at max pain, I will just bring this up because today is options expiry and it's a monthly expiry. Therefore, it is even more important than the last week. So I will bring up max pain for you to see that the max pain level is at $185. So a lot lower than the current price level. So we still have $15 to the downside to reach max pain because the current stock price is above 200. And you see that a lot of puts are open here at a $190 strike, and a lot of calls at a $200 strike. So even if we close between the 190 and 200, a lot of calls and puts will be almost worthless, and therefore I think we will probably test the 200 level again, and there will be a big fight from bulls and bears to hold this level or to close below at the closing today. So yeah, watch out for Tesla closing this week here for the monthly expiry of February. Okay, this is Tesla, but we talked about it yesterday. It is still bullish. We still have room to the upside up to 230. As you can see, all the weekly candles are green here, and therefore I would be cautious by short selling the stock directly. I have a short position, but I have a bear call spread, so it's a 250 strike call short and a 270 strike long, and therefore I still have some room to the upside. Even if the prices are rising, I can make money just by time passing by. So this is for Tesla. Let's see crude oil. Crude oil is interesting because it's moving down 3.8% today. Pretty harsh drop, as you can see. So we were about to retest the resistance area here, but we are pulling back now again. So if we want to see how far we can pull back, I will just use Fibonacci on these 5 or 6 trading days, and there we see the next Fibonacci is pretty near. So we already reached this Fibonacci area. 61.8% can be an important one. Maybe we'll hold here and go higher next week. Let's see if it can act as a smaller support area here. Next level to the downside would be $74.25, and to the upside, of course, the previous high here, $80.50, before we reach the important resistance area here. So next is orange juice. Orange juice chart's not showing, so let's bring it up again. Orange juice futures and May expiry. So orange juice is still pulling sideways, but it's just normal because we have corrected here almost 50%. So let's see this here. The outbreak was about here at the $2 area. So you see the 50% Fibonacci was reached, and we are holding around the 50 Fibonacci. It is just normal, and then we normally see a turn back to the upside. 230 is the smaller resistance, and 237 would be the next one. So we can turn back to the 237, and it can be an interesting point to take on new shorts, because I think that we will retest the 205 or 2. This will be the support area here down, and I think that we will retest it. There's more room to the downside, but at first we will probably retest here in this area 237. And then EURUSD. This is also an interesting one because we were talking about this yesterday, that it was pretty weak. So strength of the US dollar, weakness of the euro, and we were testing yesterday the low point of this sideways trading range here, as you can see, and today we are pulling below. So more weakness for the euro, more strength for the US dollar means normally nothing good for the stock market, because money is pulling out of the riskier assets and going back into safe haven US dollar. And this is what the day chart here is currently showing us. And again, it acted as an early indicator, because if you have watched pretty closely here on Wednesday that EURUSD was pulling down here, then you would have been cautious for Thursday, because if the EURUSD is pulling back like this means nothing good for the stock market. And this was an early sign for yesterday, for Thursday, for the news and for the pullback of the market. So therefore, keep always a close look here on EURUSD or DXY if you want to look at the dollar index, but it's almost the same because 60% of the trading volume from DXY is the EURUSD currency pair. Yeah, which stock do you want to see? Then just write them down in the chat here. You see that the German DAX 40 is still strong. We had a doji yesterday, but today it's green again. So completely the opposite to Nasdaq and S&P 500. Still a strong European indices, and especially here the German one, we still have room to retest the previous high levels. Yeah. Let's move on with what else do we have here interesting. Let's go back to VIX. So VIX was pulling higher a lot yesterday. Why? Because the market dropped. We talked about this. Normally we see the opposite direction, so an inverse correlation, but it is not an early indicator. So the VIX is normally just rising when the markets are dropping. It's not signaling an early downturn of the stock market. So therefore, I wouldn't watch VIX closely. You will just see how big the fear is. And here you see we had a gap up today. The fear is pulling back a little bit, but there's still a big gap here. And yeah, we are almost retesting the highs here from this week. The high point was 21.94. So let's see if we will retest the highs for today or maybe the beginning of next week. But I think there is more fear to come for the next week here for VIX. Let's see what else. Yeah, Upstart, we talked about this as well. So it's like the market, it was pulling back yesterday, but today it's trading sideways. Let's see if there can be another pull. There's still some room to the high points here because there should be a resistance area here between these 2 points, $23.50 and $26.40. And there can be a retest of this area, so we still have some room to the upside. And again, if you use Fibonacci previous high point, and if you want the outbreak here, you can use the low point, but you can also use the breakout point here from the previous day. And you see we pulled back 50%, even more than 50%. So there should be some supporting area here, and then we can turn to the upside. It's the opposite compared to orange juice. So in orange juice we were dropping and now moving higher, and here we had the breakout to the upside and we corrected about 50%, and then probably we will turn higher again here. So let's just wait and see what will happen here to Upstart, but still a lot of shorties are in this stock and they can be squeezed out when the markets are turning to the upside again here for Upstart. Natural gas is pretty weak again. As you can see, Parabolic was signaling an early uptrend, but it was just trading sideways, so it was not pretty bullish. And you see today we are pulling below Parabolic SAR, so it will be interesting to see the closing of today. The settlement will always be at 8:30 p.m. my time, which is 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Let's see if we close below these 245 for April future, and if we close below it, then probably it will signal more downside potential for next week. So next level would be $2 area. We are at 238 right now. I'm still in my short put position, but I have some room. I sold them at the money, so I earned some decent premium, but of course the market is now turning against my position here, but I can still make money if the price is going higher and staying in the sideways trading range here. So I will just be patient and wait what will happen with natural gas, and if it's pulling back further, then I will act and can still change my position to a short strangle here in natural gas. So back to Nasdaq now. Nasdaq on a 5-minute time frame. Let's see what happened in the first 10 minutes. Just some sideways trading, retest of the lows probably. So let's see what happens here at 12,330. What was it? 12,338 or 37. Let's see if we retest the lows. So on a day chart, it can be an interesting level because you see the closing here from February 10th was 12,346 points. So it's about the low point from today. Therefore, it can be an interesting level. But there are still some more points to the downside room here to retest the 20 EMA area. It can be interesting to take on some early longs, but I would only trade small here. And yeah, you know it would be against the trend here, because yeah, we didn't make higher highs. So if you just look at the previous 2 weeks, it's a sideways trading range, but it could break down here below the 12,250 area, and then it would signal more weakness, more downside potential. Therefore, be don't risk too much here and be cautious and wait for more upside to take on more longs. But I will probably risk it here and take on some early longs here just to trade a smaller reversal here if we see it today, and if not, my stop loss will be placed right below 12,250. So I will risk 100 points to the downside, but I see more upside potential, so we can turn back to 12,500 or even higher. Therefore, I will trade to the long side with a small position here, but my main direction, my main focus is still short. Maybe it depends on how far we can pull back up, but maybe I can manage to enter the missed short trade from yesterday. Maybe not at 12,800, but still there's still some lower interesting levels where I can watch for a reversal again and then take on this short trade. So let's see when we just pulled below. Can be interesting just to trigger some stop losses here, and I will try to enter with some early longs here. So let's see. It's sometimes a little bit early to take on these longs, but let's see if the 20 EMA level will hold here. This should be also acting as a support, but we still have room to the downside to retest previous lows here from February 10th. So I had an execution. You see here I entered 3 micro Nasdaq futures at 12,326 points. So it's an early trade. I can still be wrong. It can pull lower. Just wanted to be in a position here, in a small position, if the market wants to turn back. So sometimes this happens, that we just crush through these areas to trigger all the stop losses here and then turn back right away. As you can see now, all the scalpers are now trying to push back minimum to the breakout level here. But the market seems to be pretty weak here. As you can see, ADX on a 5-minute time frame is signaling more downside potential, and parabolic is also showing signs of weakness here, but it can still turn. We are early on this trading day, just 17 minutes traded, and we always have to give the market some time to find its direction. The first 20 to 30 minutes the market tries to find its direction, and often we see pretty often that the first direction is the wrong one. So it can still change the direction, and therefore just be patient and wait. So scalpers should now be out of their position. This should be their point where we see some resistance. So they will take some profits here from their long positions. And let's see if we manage to go back above or if we will stay below here. Still 2 minutes to close this 5-minute candle. Let's see it on a 15-minute time frame. On a 15-minute time frame, we still have 12 minutes left to close this candle here. But you see how good we stayed in the area. So the Fibonacci level was a resistance. It was already a resistance here at 10:30 a.m. my time, and it acted as a resistance again. $12,300 psychological area is also pretty near, but that doesn't mean that we have to reach it, because again on a day chart you clearly see the 20 EMA level. We didn't reach it the last time. I was trying to go long right at the 20 EMA level, but I missed the entry, the long entry here, just by 20 points. And this time I just wanted to be in an early long here, but maybe I'm too early again here, and we will pull back further before we see a smaller pullback. No major news today, but let's see the news for next week. So let's prepare for next week. English one. So today only these 2-star events, nothing really special. FOMC member Bowman is speaking, and we had the export and import price index, but as you can see, the export price index was higher than the forecast and the import price index was just in line, so nothing special here from this side. And you see the interesting numbers from Germany. The German PPI the producer price index was a little bit better than expected. It was negative 1.0%, but that doesn't influence the US markets. So let's see next week here. Monday is on a holiday. It's Washington's birthday, therefore the stock market will be closed. But you can trade the futures. Future market will be open. And on Tuesday, we will have some more news from the housing market. At 10 a.m. Eastern, we will have existing home sales. And I will try to live stream these numbers, of course, for you. But we will have a longer weekend, so I will not live stream on Monday, of course, because there will be no major movement if we have no news. And on Wednesday, we will have the FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So this one will be interesting. Unfortunately, I will not be able to live stream this because I will have a local option trader meeting here in my hometown, Karlsruhe, Germany. But yeah, we will prepare for this probably on the live stream on Tuesday. And on Thursday, we will have GDP numbers for fourth quarter. Initial jobless claims like every week, and crude oil inventories one day later than normal. Normally it's on Wednesday, and next week it will be on Thursday because of the Washington's birthday here, because of the holiday on Monday. On Friday, we will have core PCE price index, also 3-star event 1 hour before the market opens. Yeah, this will be probably also some major news here with more movement. I will try to live stream these as well here. So some news for next week. New home sales at 10 a.m. So more numbers to come. Next week will be interesting, and the earnings numbers will go to an end. So earnings season will close for the first quarter, and then there should be more calm at the stock market. Sometimes I believe that the stock market is like the weather outside. So here in Germany, it's pretty windy, really heavy winds today. And that's sometimes like the stock market. Do you think someone is blowing the prices down here? Like they are tumbling. Trying to find some support here, but it's still pretty weak. So happy that I only took some small trades here. Can still pull back, still some more room to the downside. Let's see your questions. Do you have questions? Just write them down in the chat so that I can answer them. And if you haven't done so far, please like my stream, and of course subscribe to my channel if you want to be informed when I go live the next time. So let's just watch the next 7 or 8 minutes together to catch the first half of the trading hour today and to see which direction the market wants to turn. Let's see if this level can hold, and we can probably produce here a nice doji if the next 2 minutes we will stay at these price levels. Still trying to push to the downside, but bulls are fighting here for this level. We are near the 12,300 area, and we have 1 minute 30, so 90 seconds left for the closing of this 5-minute candle. And idealistically, I want to see a doji, so a closing where we open this candle, and this would signal an early change of direction here to the upside. As you can see, we still have some room to retest the previous the moving averages here. Can go 40 50 points to the upside, but at first we have to wait for the closing of this 5-minute candle. Let's go to a 1-minute chart, and there we see how weak the trend is right now. Still staying below the 9 EMA here. Retest of 12,300 psychological area. Probably some stop losses will be triggered now here. Can be an interesting point to take on a little bit more on the long position. So I will take on 2 more. Yes, we pull back. Retest. There I was triggered for my long entry with 2 more. Let's see if we can fight for the 12,300 level in the first half trading hour. So we tested now 20 EMA area. We need to close above to stay bullish on a day chart. Still some room to retest the previous lows here, but we should stay above and close above, else it would be pretty bearish if we close below the previous lows from February 10th. Maybe taking some here on my other account too, just some small ones, if I manage to be fast enough to enter here. 4 more minutes, let's see, but the bulls are fighting for these levels. It's looking interesting now. And again, we see the reason why it is important to look at the future prices and not at QQQ and not at TQQQ or SQQQ. The important psychological levels we only see on the future price, not on the index, not on the ETF, not on leverage ETF, just on the pure future price on the front contract months, March expiry. And you see, it is important. Stop losses are just triggered by just some points. So the low point was 12,296, just 4 points below the important psychological level. And then some buyers want to step in, some dip buyers, some scalpers, and try to push higher. So some shorties now are pushed out of their position because their stop losses are triggered. They want to keep their wins. And then they also cause demand here for the future, and this causes higher prices. Have you traded futures 2 years bond before? 2-year bond future. 2-year bond future. No, I have never traded bond futures. I only trade commodity futures or index futures. I've never traded bond futures. I'm not a big bond trader. I've sometimes traded TLT. It's a bond ETF. I traded TLT options, but have never traded bond futures. Is it NQ1 future ticker? Yes, that's MNQ, so it's micro-Nasdaq future, but the price is the exact same like Nasdaq. Micro-Nasdaq and NQ, the bigger one than NQ future, have the same price levels, and this is March expiry, so it's a front contract month. This is NQ1. Always depends on which trading platform you are trading. Here I'm trading at Interactive Brokers. Some people laugh for the charting here because it looks ridiculous to them. Yes, I know it's not the best charting platform, but I don't need the best charting software to see the important levels. It can be pretty easy no matter which trading or charting platform you use. You can use TradingView or whatever, but for me it is easier to use the charting software of the trading platform I use. Therefore I use just Interactive Brokers. And it depends on which trading platform you trade for the ticker symbol. So here it is NQ or MNQ, and then you have the expiry of the future here, March 17th. But on some platforms you see NQ1 for the front contract months. Nice, here pulling higher. So the next resistance here should be the breakout level here at 12,337. We failed to go back the first attempt here when the scalpers closed their longs. Then we tested the psychological 12,300. Now we should retest again and on the next attempt we should go higher here to the 9 EMA or maybe back to VWAP. So 12,350, 12,360 should be the next target if we manage to go back above this level here. But you see it is still a stronger downtrend here right now on a 5-minute time frame. So we still have to be cautious. The first half trading hour is now over. So the market tried to find its direction to the downside. But sometimes we see that the first half an hour is just the false side. And therefore we can see a 100% reversal. You never know if this happens, but it can happen. Why? Because we have some early indicators showing us that this should act as a support. We have pulled back pretty harsh yesterday, today. So we normally see some comeback here to the upside before we pull further down, if we really want to go below this trading level here. But the market often fools everyone, the bears and the bulls, before it takes its obvious direction. So we tested the breakout level here, pulling above now. So 9 EMA should be tested here, 12,350 area. Ralph, never say that I'm a Schwabe, because I'm a Badener. That's a big difference. The most Schwaben are sitting in your country, Bavaria, and not in my Baden-Württemberg. Just an insider gag, because most people living outside of Germany won't know that there's some rival thing between the inhabitants of the county here of Baden-Württemberg, because it was forced to go together after the Second World War, and they went to Baden and Württemberg, so they were two separate counties and they went together as a state, not a county, as a state. And yeah, so there's still some rival thing. Therefore, the Badeners, so it's the west side of the state, they don't want to be called Schwabe because they are living on the east side. And normally the Schwäbisch ones, yeah, they don't want to spend a lot of money, so they want to live really, how to tell it, in a friendly manner. So yeah, they normally don't spend a lot of money, that's it. And if you say you are a Schwabe, you normally mean this, that you don't want to spend money on almost everything. So therefore it's not, we on the west side don't want to be called Schwabe or Swabish. It's like if you would say to a Bavarian one that he would be an Austrian. So you are not Austrian, you are Bavarian. It's something special. Okay, here is the movement back to the 9 EMA. That's what we wanted to see. You could also use Fibonacci now on the lower time frame here, like on the 5-minute time frame. You can also use Fibonacci from the low point here to see the pullback. 50% correction right now. Almost pulled back to the 20 EMA and VWAP. So some of the early long traders will close their shorts here. It's an important area. You can see previous low points, 50% Fibonacci, 20 EMA and VWAP. Therefore some longs will be closed here, and we need some time to push through this level if we want to see a 100% reversal. But you can see here in my 5 micro Nasdaq long, so 5 micro Nasdaq is half one big Nasdaq NQ future. The NQ future is 20 times Nasdaq contract size, and a micro Nasdaq future is 2 times Nasdaq as contract size. So 5 micro Nasdaq are half NQ future. This is 10 times 5 micro Nasdaq are 10 times the Nasdaq. And you see I entered for a median price of 12,316, so not too bad, just about 20 points above the low point here. And I'm in the green now, about 380 bucks here. It's a small position, but interesting to see. Let's see if we can see more pullback, more pullback to the upside and stay above VWAP. This will be a fight for the bulls here. How did you learn how to trade? Did you have a mentor? Yeah, not a real mentor in futures trading, but I learned a lot by self-educating. So I read a lot of books, I had some seminars, I was looking into YouTube videos and so on. So I had a lot of knowledge in the previous 15-20 years. So I'm trading for more than 20 years now. I'm 33 years old. But I started to be interested in the stock market with 13 years, and I started trading with 16. Not with the futures at the beginning, but with simple stocks, with blue chip stocks, and later with derivatives like warrants, and then later Forex. And 10 years ago, beginning 2012, it was 2012 in September, I started with options trading. And this is my favorite instrument, still my favorite trading instrument to trade options. But I also like futures just for some directional plays like here. And I still trade futures directional for the major commodities like crude oil, natural gas, or just Nasdaq here. Nasdaq is my favorite stock index to trade with futures. And I learned by self-educating, so mainly by self-educating, just being curious, always wanting to know what is the answer for this question. So I learn from every live stream I do because of your questions, because I don't know every answer to every question. But if I don't know an answer, just I look it up, I Google it, and I try to find the answer. And that is what you learn from, just by being curious. And of course by watching charts, because if you watch the charts long enough, you will just learn that there will be repeating patterns. And this is the thing what you are trading when you are trading intraday as a day trader, or even as a swing trader. You are doing technical analysis more than fundamental, because a fundamental trader is an investor. He is normally investing for 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, or even more. And therefore he needs fundamental data. But here, if you trade on a lower time frames, like within a day or a couple of days, then there's no sense in making a fundamental analysis. It is more important to see the technical levels. And therefore you often see repeating patterns. And these patterns you can just learn by watching charts. You don't have to trade them, but you will just see what is happening here if you will use some moving averages, some ADX, some Fibonacci levels like I do. So it can be pretty simple. These are just supporting indicators to see it on a first glance. But I can also trade on a clean chart. It would also be possible just by drawing some lines from previous support and previous high points. So you have seen here we are trading now for about 38 minutes. And you have seen how I'm doing this. It's not so complicated, but you have to know what you do. And I was clearly talking where I will enter, why I will enter, and where will be my stop loss. So if we would have pulled far back below the 12,300 level, probably my stop loss would have been triggered 60 or 70 points below the 12,300 level. But then I would have lost maybe 1K, but that's not a big issue because it was just a small trade. So I know that this is still an early long here, and that you never know if this will be the low point. It can still pull lower, but the chances are bigger that we will see around 100% reversal on the day and that we will retest the high points again. Why? Just because it pulled back so much. Take profit 12,380. Yeah, if you want to take some early profits, you can take them here. So if you would have wanted to take on early profits, I would have placed right the 50% Fibonacci or right below the VWAP. So we were talking about this level that it will be a resistance, and it is still a resistance. So you see the market takes some time to push above this level. It's just normal. So we just see a pullback again from this area and then the retest. It takes time. It's just normal. But I'm not here as a scalper, so it's not my trading style, and I'm only maybe 5 to 10% of the time I day trade the futures, and I like more to have swing trades. I don't want to hold this position over the weekend, but I think that there's more potential to the upside here. Depends on how far we are pulling back now. We could still go lower, but I would hold for more. Because this is only a small position, I have time. I can stay in the position. I don't have to go out with half position size. But yeah, you see, it was an interesting level to take some profits if you have wanted to take some early profits. But I think the high point of the day is a more interesting day, as a more interesting level to take some profits here, 12,420 maybe. But there can be a breakout and a retest of higher levels. So let's see it on an hourly chart. So the closing of yesterday is still far away, but the closing was 12,466. So this can also be an interesting level to fill the gap here from pre-market. Still some room to the upside. Let's watch it 3 or 4 more minutes and then I will close out this live stream, because sometimes it's pretty boring to just watch a chart. Like watching paint dry, it makes no sense. You are in a position, you don't want to take on more. You can set your limits, your stop losses, and just leave your desk and let the money do its work. You don't have to watch it because it won't change anything. Have you considered open a Discord group? Yes, I've considered this. But look, my YouTube channel has about 300 subscribers right now, so there won't be a lot of traffic on a Discord server. Therefore, I want to have minimum 1,000 subscribers to my channel. If my channel is brought up to 1,000 subscribers, then I will open a Discord server for you. I'm in Nvidia puts, bought at 223, thinking of taking profit at 210. Would love your thoughts. Want to know if I'm thinking the right way. So you took Nvidia puts long side, I think, because I'm mainly a short seller of options. But let's look at Nvidia. I don't have this chart here, but I can open it for you. Nvidia charts. Let's look at this. We'll probably miss the breakout here. Just do this that I can see 2 charts. Oops, here. So we will see the breakout here of Nasdaq while talking about about Nvidia. So Nvidia had highs here at about 230 and is at 215 right now, and your target is 210. Yes, it's a nice target, possible that we will pull back here to the previous low points. Why not? Let's see this on a weekly time frame. It's still pretty bullish, but we see now a lot of room here to the upside, that we went higher but closed lower. So this is some signs of early weakness here, some early signs of weakness. High points at 230 in the previous 2 weeks now. So yes, we will probably retest the 210, I think. And if we close here on a weekly time frame, this is an interesting doji, then probably we will even see more potential to the downside for lower levels. Maybe here this 170 area could be an important level if we will go lower for a retest here. 20% downside potential if we would retest this area. And if I would use Fibonacci from the high point to the previous low point here on a week chart, you see 170 is an important area. Why? 50% Fibonacci correction. So we often see these 50% Fibonacci corrections. And yeah, these movements here to the upside but closing lower are showing signs of weakness. It's a big wick to the upside, and you see the wick on the downside is a lot smaller. And if we now close with a weekly candle with almost nobody here, so this is a doji, a perfect doji, like a gravestone, and then we will probably see more downside potential. yeah, so a long put position is not bad, and especially because of the rising implied volatility. So the implied volatility was already rising on the way up, but it will probably rise more if we see a fast downfall here back to the 180, 170 area. And then you will profit from both, from higher implied volatility and lower prices. But of course, be prepared to step out of your long put position, because time is not in your favor. When you bought a put, time is not in your favor, and every day passing by and nothing happening, you will lose money, especially when the implied volatility is going down. What will happen if we will just sideways trading here in this area? Therefore, you need a pullback. You need higher implied volatility to compensate for the theta decay. And we see Nasdaq's also trying to sideways trade. So we didn't manage to see the breakout here. We probably triggered some stop losses right above the VWAP, but didn't close above. Bulls are still trying to fight here, but it's looking interesting. So it's not looking as weak as it was looking half an hour before, but it's also not looking super strong. So just an area of indecision here. So I would always go on higher time frames and see what is showing here on a 15-minute time frame, for example. There we see a big wick on the downside. So this shows that the bulls want to take over. And the same on an hourly time frame. So if you look at the hourly time frame, you also see a wick on the downside, and we closed right at the Fibonacci level here. So we have some room to go back to the upside, but you see it is still weak. So it is trading against the trend. You have always to take this into account, that you are trading here against the trend if you're trading like I did here today, just to show it. On a 4-hour time frame, more important for a swing trader, 4-hour and daily, you see all these red candles. So we need a green candle to see some movement to the other side. Yeah, it's not pretty interesting to watch a sideways trading phase. So I hope you had some interesting insights here from my live stream. And of course, if you are really watching it, just ask your questions below. I can answer them, and we will see us next week. I wish you a nice trading Friday and a nice long weekend. We will see next week, and hope you will have a nice weekend. See you next week.